So we'll start today's video, which is going to be on the Sapphire X4000, with a screenshot of our stock control computer, which is a 486 by the way, using some 1983 software, but in line with the type of radios we're dealing with. So if I just do a search for Sapphire, one of the, and do a browse on that, as you can see there's a Sapphire 2000 which uses the GT868 Great chassis, and there's a Sapphire 4000 which uses a Cybernet 134 chassis. And let's have a look, that's our stock number 94 and that's our stock number 95, that's convenient. So let's have a look at what that says. So on the field just there, it says working question mark. Well, U means untested, style means mobile, 1981, condition B minus, bought off eBay and we paid 20 quid for it, so wasn't cheap. And yes, we've got a circuit. Well, of course we have, it's a Cybernet 134. I'll just go back to the Sapphire 2000. What did we pay for that? We paid 20 quid for that one as well. Far too much. So that's what we're going to start with. The Sapphire 4000X. So we'll go over to Mr. Chippy's workshop, and I have dug out the dusty example. I bet I bought it 16 years ago. Okay, so there it is on Mr. Chippy's bench, the Sapphire X4000. They don't look like the right knobs to me. I'm not that bothered about that. So what's that? Tone, high, mid, low, CBPA, dimmer, channel 9, delta tune, mic gain, RF gain, volume and squelch. So I'll open it up here, and I think then we'll put the cases through the company dishwasher. I like doing that. Okay, so with the lids off, unfortunately what I discover is it's got some horrible little subboard in it, which is probably a Roger bleep. Oh, where's it come from? Oh. High-low powers on the back, I notice on this. That's interesting. It's a 3-pin connector, isn't it, on there? It's normally on normally on Cybernet it's 2-pin. Oh well, that's obviously how it should be. So what we'll have to do is to get rid of that horrible little subboard and put it in the vertical filing cabinet. Right, well, I'll get that front off. We'll put that through a dishwasher too, and we'll take it from there in the RF workshop. The X4000 now on the RF service bench. I did take that crystal filter out, put the ceramic one in. I found we've got a scrap Binatone 5-star. That filter, that coil had been removed, and then the capacitor had been changed. I think I've got it right. I copied what was in the Binatone, and I've cleaned up all round from the solder splurges from whoever done that, with the isopropyl alcohol and the little brush we have. On top of that, I've got the front off at the moment. That's just gone through the company dishwasher. I forgot that these have a 5-pin DIN socket. I will have to look up the pin out for that. And I've brushed some of the dirt away from that. I have checked the meter lamp works. I've removed the blue tack. For people outside of the UK, it's a kind of sticky kind of putty which is available from stationery shops, which was kind of stopping the on-off, whatever that control is. I can't tell without the front panel. It stops it from moving around, because all it needed, of course, was the nut tightening up, but whoever couldn't be bothered to change the take the front panel off, so I've done that. I ought to really just check the TX and RX lights, and I will do that before we put the bezel back on. There's a trim bit goes on there. In fact, I think I'll kind of assemble it on video, so You can see me putting that back together. I've never seen that before, but then I've never seen one of these before. So the next thing to mention about this is that it's a 5-pin DIN. Oops. So I've just prepared a new microphone. We use these metal, what are these? Gold-plated things, which, because those plastic ones just don't seem to last. I found a useful resource on the web, which gives the pin out. This radio is the same as the Barracuda. So we've got, looking at the solder side of the plug, audio, blank, transmit, receive, and the common. So that's useful. So now we come to the point where we plug this into the test set and we see whether it actually does anything. So I've not put the front panel on yet. There is the front panel, so I'll just use that as a guide as to what I'm setting. So we've now got this black front panel on. So I want tone to high, CB to CB from PA. I want the dimmer off. I want channel 9 off. Delta tune to center. And we want mic gain to full, RF gain to full. That's on off volume, and there's squelch. And look, we've got no display. So the meter's lit up. I'll just turn the bench light off. So you can see the meter's lit up and the RX light's on, but we've got no display. So go between PA and CB. So I'll have to fault find that and see why we've got no display. In fact, we have got a display, and it's the CB PA switch that needed cleaning, and we've actually got transmit, but it was the high-low power switch at the back that needed cleaning. So we'll start off with the, I'm going to use the Rotel 240 service manual, because it's obviously the same chassis and it's a bit more comprehensive than some of the others. So we may as well start off with the VCO, and we will set the channel to 40. So there we go, channel 40, and it says, we'll just get our test meter in view. So it says here, channel 40, DC, we're in the 12 volt, between test point 1 and ground. So in test point 1 and ground. So then we'll put that probe, I could use a crocodile clip, I could also poke it through that hole. So test point 1 is either the left leg of that capacitor. I'm just going to zoom in on this so you can see. I've done these before. So you've got this capacitor here, and it's so far in the board it's difficult to get the probe on. We've got this resistor, the resistor 4, that goes to the same place. So it's the side, I've got the front here, it's the furthest away towards the back of that resistor, and if I just zoom back out again, you will see that we're supposed to have about 4 volts on the meter, and we've got 3.94, which will do nicely, thank you very much. So what we would then do is to rotate coil, the VCO coil there, which is transformer number 1. So the tester reads 4 volts. So I'm not going to, just to show you, I'll just put the thing in, and there we are. Now I've got just turned it a bit. Now we've got 3.09. Now we've got 4.06. So 3.93 is what I've now got it at. And then it says set the radio into transmit mode. So we'll set it into transmit mode, and we're supposed to have 4 volts ish, which we have, and we're supposed to adjust CT1. There's a trimmer capacitor just there, so you've got the T1 coil and you've got the trimmer capacitor just there. You see the red trimmer capacitor? That's the one you adjust for transmit on channel 40. Then we select the channel selector to channel 1. With this radio being messed about with, I thought I would just check the VCO, because when they've put other boards in, you just don't know whether they've messed about with other things. So now we're on channel 1, and it says in the service manual, check that there's between 1.8 to 2.5 volts with the tester in transmit. So we're in transmit. So there we are, 2.21. So that's within 1.8 to 2.5. Set the radio to receive mode and check that it's between 1.9 and 2.5, which it is. So there you go. So that's the VCO setup. So we know that's right. So now what we'll do, we'll switch that off and get on with transmit. So on transmit, we're looking at L4 to L8. So L4 to L8. So on transmit, we're going to go on to channel 20 for the centre of the band. Difficult without the knob. There we go. And we're going to adjust 2, 3 and 4 for maximum on the test set power meter. So T2, T3 and T4. So just to show you is T2, T3 and T4. So I'm going to set it into transmit. We have actually got, I'll just tell you, oh, we've got 5.5 watts. So that's max, or peak shall we say. That one's peak, and then 4, that's peak. You know, all the time I do these and you get sets with 2.5 watts coming out of them, and we can barely get 3.9, and this one's coming with 6, so it just goes to show how they can be. So from then we're going to go on to L8 and L9 for maximum. And L8 and L9 is that one, and is it that one? It looks to be like that's 8 and that's, I don't see many of these. And I actually want the green, we have a green hexagonal trimming tool for maximum. That's what, 5.7 watts. 6.7 watts, so they were peak. With a power output like that, they weren't going to be much different than peak. And then rotate L4 clockwise to obtain 4.4 watts. So L4 is that one. So clockwise to obtain 4.4. And that's exactly what we've got. And then L9 counterclockwise to obtain 3.8. Well, we'll be setting it for 4. We don't have to be worrying about that. I like things to be right, but not. So that's L9. So I'll just read that again. L9 counterclockwise to obtain 3.8. I'll do it to 4. There we go. Now the reason they get you to do that is so that it tracks the same power more or less over the 40 channels. So I've now got bang on 4 watts on channel 20. So I'll change the radio to channel 1. And we've got 3.95. And channel 40, 3.95. Back to channel 20. 4. Brilliant. Tracking's absolutely perfect. So we'll just recap on that, because to get that tracking right, it's not a matter of making everything go to peak, it's a matter of it tracking correctly. So it is L4, which was clockwise to obtain 4.4, and that was that one, and then 9 to go counterclockwise to obtain the full legal power of 4. So there we go. Now what does the meter read? So we need to set the RF meter, and that's RV4. It's just over the 4 at the moment, so it's about right, but just to show you, it's RV4, which is the one just there. There we have it, that's set to 4. So I'll need to set low power. I've replaced the preset for low power because it was clearly no good whatsoever. So I'll just zoom into that for you. So the radio should be 0.4 watt when set to low power. Now I was unable to get a 300 ohm preset, so I put a 500 ohm preset in. So because of these skeleton presets, I find them quite hard to come by. So that was that, and that's now doing 0.4 of a watt. So looking back at the service manual, having done that, what do they want you to do next? They want you to check it's on frequency. So I'll go back to full 4 watts, and we've got 2779103, which is low, and as I've said many times before, quartz crystals drop frequency with age. So at 38 years old this will have dropped, and it's the trimmer capacitor which is just there. So you've got the quartz crystal for the reference, 10.24. So I want it to go up, and is it luck with habit, it's clockwise for up, and I've now got 2779122. .126, that's ideal, just slightly above. So that's covered that. So let's see what else there is. Oh yes, deviation. So deviation mustn't exceed 2.5, so we should be somewhere between 2.2 and 2.5. So I'll just get the little oscillator out, hold it up to the mic. And I find that's 1.7. I'll just give it the whistle test first. Wallow. In actual fact, that's spot on. So whether the mic's a bit low gain, I'm sure we've got mic gain at full. I will just check. Got to play with the front and see which control does what. We have. Wallow. It's spot on. However, to adjust the deviation, which is what FM modulation is called, for those of you who don't know, the idea is RV6, I'll just point that out to you when I find it myself. So RV6 is the vertically mounted one. So just there is RV6, and that is set for your maximum deviation, which is 2.5. Then what they want you to do is to back off RV2, I think it is, which is the horizontal one there, until you get the desired deviation, which is somewhere around 2.2, 2.3. So it's supposed to be average of 2.2 and a peak of 2.5. So that sets up the deviation, which we haven't had to do on this particular ropey old set. And you know what? I think that concludes the transmit side of the Sapphire 4000X. So next we will go on to the receiver, and we will do that on another video.